The Full Exposure Podcast is made possible by Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, and Dr. Peter Hahn in appreciation for the contributions that artists and creative minds provide to our community. Arts and culture are essential to a rich and rewarding life, strengthening our overall well-being and our appreciation of all that we see, hear, and experience. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Full Exposure with me, your host, Brian Kelly. Hey, it's awesome to have Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, and Dr. Peter Hahn kicking us off on the intro there. I had some people ask me the last week or two since we announced this very special partnership that I have with Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, and they said that, who's Dr. Peter Hahn? And that's a great question, and I'll just take a minute to tell you about him. He's the CEO of Metro Health, University of Michigan Health here in Grand Rapids. He's an innovative CEO. He's a physician. It's very rare for a hospital system to have a CEO that is a doctor, which means a whole bunch of benefits come along with that, aside from just being a brilliant administrator. He definitely knows what it takes and has dedicated his life to the improvement of health for patients and for people at Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, but also a broader look at the community. And there's lots of things besides healthcare that make a community better. And one of those is supporting the arts and cool initiatives and just things in the community that Metro Health and University of Michigan Health wanted to align themselves with. And here I am. I'm so thrilled that they are supporting this podcast, this multimedia podcast. And so that's just a little bit more about Dr. Peter Hahn. And we're just grateful for Metro Health and am excited for the year to come. Hey, let's talk about this week's guest. This is a great episode. I know every episode, hosts say this is a great episode, but this is a great episode. Willie the Kid is from Grand Rapids. He's had an amazing trajectory in his life, and this conversation is inspiring. Will Jackson is known professionally as Willie the Kid. He's an American rapper, songwriter, storyteller, film producer, serial entrepreneur, and tech investor from right here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And Will represents Grand Rapids harder than most artists, especially artists that go off and find success in their hometowns, and then they go off to achieve even greater success nationally and internationally. But Willie the Kid is someone who never forgot Grand Rapids, is pouring a ton of his time and investment and entrepreneurial efforts back into the city of Grand Rapids. He's a busy entrepreneur. He just launched a spirits company called Motu Viget. You may recall an episode with Super Dre, Andrea Wallace, that we talked with her. She's a partner in that business. And GRUSA is an apparel and outerwear company that's really growing quickly. But all of these business efforts, the thing that I so admire about Willie the Kid is all these business efforts are inspired by his hometown and his desire for all races, nationalities, cultural, and different ideological backgrounds to lift up each other and support one another. And even so, the Motu Viget is a Latin term. It's the seal of the city or the slogan for the city of Grand Rapids, and it means strength in movement. And he and his business partners have taken that idea of strength in movement and applied it to their whole business platform, their branding. It is super cool. And if that's not enough, Will also keeps a base of operations in Atlanta, Georgia, where he attended Clark Atlanta University. It's a historically black college that helped to sharpen his internal compass and vision. And this conversation is going to get you inspired. I truly had a great time with Will in the studio. We made some really cool portraits, and that just led to a really great conversation. Hey, have you guys checked out the fullexposurepodcast.com website yet? It is an enriching podcasting experience. On each dedicated episode page, you can see a gallery of portraits that I shot of each guest just before we sat down and had our conversation. There's also a gallery of video excerpts. These are just nice little appetizing nuggets that you can see in 2, 3, 5-minute video clips that give a snapshot of just one little part of our conversation. So please check out fullexposurepodcast.com. Okay, it's time to do this. Let's explore the bigger picture with my guest and my new friend, Willie the Kid. Probably a little jealous of the setup and the mixer, right? I mean, nope. this is $400 out of the box, you know, like.
No, I'm gonna tell you.
I'll sell it to you.
If I am jealous, it's because this is where the inspiration starts. This setup right here, that means you're inspired. Man, this is how I started making music on something. This looks nice, very nice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The setup I had was terrible. We used to record in the bathroom with a handheld mic with a church sock wrapped around it. You know.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of sock?
Like a dress sock.
Oh, a church sock. Yeah. I hate those. I threw all those out. I had a whole drawer for these dress socks. Oh, they're the worst.
We used to see, because this was our, like, you see the popper stomper here, so the church sock was very similar to that.
Well, these are so cheap too, and I think when I was looking at this, the sleeve that actually goes on top. Mm-hmm. It was they wanted another $30 for each of them. I was like, I'll just see how these goes. It's in the kit. We'll just see what happens.
That's it.
So I think we're rolling, buddy.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
Willie the Kid. Thanks for doing this. Just amazing that how things have fallen. That you're here and in town for long enough to do this, because you're hustling around the country. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit, like, just in full disclosure, we had Super Dre on. She's a business partner. I want to go into that later, though, but that's just kind of the how I became aware of you, because I told you in a meeting the other day that I was like, I'm not really in the music game, like what's out there all the time. So I didn't know. I immediately knew you were very successful with music, but you were off my radar just from... I don't know why, but I've corrected that quickly. I really like your music, but tell me a little bit more. You rep Grand Rapids really hard.
Absolutely.
And tell me a little bit more. Where did you come up in town and, high school? Like, tell me a little bit more.
I lived all over the city. That's why I know a lot of people. A lot of people know me. When I was born, my parents, they lived on the same block. Like, so both of my grandmothers lived on the same street. They lived on Lafayette, but my mother's mother stayed on across Highland, going towards downtown. And then my father's mother stayed across Highland, going towards the other way. So that block, I knew everybody there, and then we moved from that block to Umatilla. So it's all southeast side of Grand Rapids. Yeah. And we moved on that block, that's the Madison and Hall area over there. Yeah. So my grandmother's sister lived next door from her.
I live right off of Hall. Yeah. More not near Ottawa Hills.
For sure. Yeah. And I had family up and down that block on both my mother's side and my father's side. Then we left there and moved to Kentwood. We lived in Camelot. My parents got their first apartment. And then we moved from Kentwood back into the city. And I grew up, like, in the Garfield Park area. Yeah. Of Madison, that area around there.
What'd your parents do?
Well, my mother worked for Social Security. And then my father, he worked shipping and receiving, things like that. Yeah. Industrial work, things like that. He was, like, one of the youngest managers at the plants out here. He was real young. And then eventually I went to college down in Atlanta, and they followed me down there.
Your parents are down there? They're still together and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we're still together, so.
So you ended up graduating from Ottawa Hills High School? Mm-hmm. And when did you start making music?
I've been making music since before high school. I was making music since I was a kid around here.
In the bathroom, right? With the church sock.
Yeah, I've been making music for a while. Church socks and making makeshift studios, you know what I mean? Turning the closet into a booth and doing things like that. And it was cassettes then, of course. So we was making our own demo tapes and trying to shop them. Me and my friend went to New York, and we looked at the back of the CDs to get the addresses for the record labels.
And you just showed up,
We just showed up. And we even spent a lot of money on payphones. We were calling the labels, because we would get the address, get the name, then call information and get a phone number, and then call the number and say, hey, this such and such records, I'm Willie the Kid, I want to bring my music over, and, things like that. We didn't know. We were kids, man, but that was our approach. And we was in New York, and we wrote down the addresses, and...
Did you get any meetings?
No.
Oh,
no.
yeah, that was hard.
I wasn't... I was learning, though.
Yeah.
I was learning.
But the hustle was there early on.
Absolutely.
Just like,
And
there's
this is
something
high
nice
school.
about that naivete, because I had it too early in my career. I didn't know anything.
I'm going to tell you, it helps you get the kinks out.
For real. Sure.
It's a great dress rehearsal for when the real show comes around. You've already done this 100 times. So I developed, what I did learn was how the business works as far as packaging yourself and marketing and presenting. I learned a lot of stuff with that, along the way. So when it was actual time to really do it, I was pretty much ready to make it happen.
When you first started making music, though, like, what was was there a particular artist that you were like really inspired by or were emulating at the time?
Yeah, definitely. I was a big Wu-Tang fan.
Yeah.
I wanted to do everything. The look and sound and have the attitude that they have.
Yeah.
Huge Wu-Tang fan. But the artist that helped me develop myself as an artist was Nas.
Yeah. We were just saying, Mark and I were, when we were setting up, it's like, there's so many things I heard in your music that were callbacks. Not it's all your own stuff. Mm-hmm. But the vibe, I heard everything from, even like a Mad Lib and Dilla and like how you sample and the hooks and stuff are in there. Even like there's, and it varies track to track. It isn't one thing, but like there's some Biggie Phelps in there. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm a student of all that music, all that mid '90s, late '90s hip hop. I'm definitely a student of that era. And I mentioned Nas, but I also got to mention like Jay-Z. I got to mention like Mobb Deep, even like Outkast, and just
all that '90s stuff.
Yeah, Tribe Called Quest, all that, all that. I'm a student of all of that. I think what Nas did was he helped me to find my voice in music. I grew up on the southeast side of town. A lot of things were going on. A lot of challenges for my community during that time, and it's
like
still
what?
are. But,
we can all guess. But
sure.
what kind of pressures did you feel coming up that you related?
A lot of my friends, and my cousins as well, a lot of them had to find their way, and so did I. But I mean, they maybe didn't have a lot of options. They had limited outlets. They had to make their way at a young age. Had to grow up fast. I have a son now. He's 11 years old, and I tell him all the time, man, we grew up a lot faster than you guys have to, and I thank God for that. But we had to make a lot of decisions at a young age that these kids today, that's not even a thing for them to even think about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But in saying that, I was trying to find a way to make music that reflected that without compromising authenticity. You know what I mean? I didn't want to say I'm so in this situation where I have to do these things, and I didn't want to propose a lifestyle that wasn't mine. You know what I'm saying? But I did feel obligated to tell that story and speak on those conditions and those situations.
Well, there's the tropes in rap where everything gets bigger and larger, and you can make up your own stories and narratives. You can do that. Anything as a writer, you can create anything. But but you felt like you had a central guiding sort of principle around being authentic to your own story.
And I felt like I had had a unique gift to articulate the situations, whether I was experiencing it firsthand, secondhand, or just knew about it.
Yeah.
I felt like I had a gift to be able to speak about our experience to people who may not, be familiar with the experience. Sometimes it's not about the message itself; it's about how the message is being conveyed. And I felt like I had a talent to tell our story and talk about how we feel, and but I had to find out how to do it, and that's what Nas helped me out. He said he spoke from a kid looking out of his window, and this is what I see out in my neighborhood, as opposed to saying, hey, I was doing these certain things, you know what I'm saying? So to stay true, I just figured out, okay, me and my cousin, we may walk different paths. His may be different than mine, but I can tell his story,
Yeah, right.
And his story is important. And then and midway through his story, I can start to tell mine too.
Yeah.
And then you can see what's going on in our neighborhood. As everybody knows, Grand Rapids is not a hub for music, especially not hip hop.
Right. Unless you're the Barges.
Yeah, of course.
Whatever back in the day.
And that's back in the day, and that's a unique situation.
And they all left because there's nothing here to support an ongoing thing.
And that's not a complaint.
Yeah.
It's more of an actuality that I found opportunity in. You know, I can tell this story that no one's ever told before.
Yeah.
You know, I can relay these ideas and say, hey, we're here. Look at us. You know, we have something to say as well. And I capitalized on that opportunity.
Not that I relate directly. I don't relate directly to what you're saying, but there is a modality to speaking very regional, very specific to your geographic district, which, you know, Compton comes up that way, and just, you know, all the different parts of Brooklyn and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But a similar thing happened. That's why I'm bringing it up. But is when I was first starting out in photography, I was in this photography class. And I was shooting a lot of cityscapes of Grand Rapids, and no one had really shot the city at night in black and white, kind of how I was experimenting with photography. And somebody said to me, I never forgot it, but it's like, he was speaking to the class, not to me, but he's like, you can make Grand Rapids our own. Like, why can't we make Grand Rapids as famous as a lot of images by Ansel Adams or other great photographers that are, you know...
Yeah.
It's like it starts with the creation, the creative of it, and then the audience becomes familiar with it.
Right.
So
That's the whole concept behind GRUSA.
Yeah.
That actually mirrors my approach
tell me,
to the music.
I know all about it, but tell us what GRUSA is as a branch. Do clothing, label, apparel?
It's the premier merchandising and clothing apparel brand out of Grand Rapids, out of our city. For a long time, you know, I always felt like we needed representation. And I made that one of my priorities when I make my music. And I used to do videos and photo shoots, and I would go get custom pieces made, T-shirts, hats, sweaters.
Yeah.
And I'll put Grand Rapids concepts on them, or I'll put Grand Rapids on them.
Yeah.
And like one of my first video through my major release, I had a T-shirt on, and it had a bunch of streets on the southeast side on the shirt, you know. All these blocks, Kalamazoo, Wealthy, Eastern, Burden, just random streets from our neighborhood.
Right.
And it was like it was navy, and it was like it was yellow, so it's supposed to be a play off of U of M, and you know, this whole thing.
Michigan tying in Michigan as a state.
Exactly. And then everybody kept saying,
And green doesn't look as good on other people.
I went on to I did a green one next.
Yeah.
I did that, but I just started there. You
I
know?
was sort of slamming on
Michigan
the Spartans,
State.
but my daughter goes to Michigan, so I send too much money that way, so I have to be a big, huge fan of Michigan.
That's an interesting thing. Let me tell you, and I'm probably the only person that feels this way. You know where we're from, it's either state or it's U of M. You know how it goes. I feel like, and please everybody don't throw tomatoes at me. When I leave out of Michigan, like out of Grand Rapids, and I leave out of this area, I have to represent both. And it may sound I may sound like just a complete traitor by saying that to each other, but I wear state and I wear U of M when I'm away from Michigan because
it's a good business move because
gotta do it.
Because the alumni associations alone, there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of graduates of each of those.
Exactly.
And if you alienate one or both, it's like,
come on, man, that's not smart.
We're all about, that's what I learned about you real quick, is you're real business minded.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I have to make sure I'm speaking to everybody. You know what I'm saying? But so I was just making those pieces, and my friends kept saying, yo, where can I get that? Is that the clothing line? I kept saying, nah, this is just, you know, I'm just doing it for me. So my business partner, Jonathan Jokes, he said, all right, enough of the the novelties.
Right.
We need to package this and sell this to people. You know what I mean?
And how long ago did that start? It seems like a pretty fresh brand, but it's taken hold real quick.
Yeah, we started 2015. That's when we started putting it together. And then we launched the website, I think it's 2016. And we've been rolling ever since then.
Yeah, it looks great. And you see all kinds of people wearing it, too. It isn't just kids. It isn't just, there's occasionally
we want to represent our landscape out here, our cultural landscape. What do we look like in Grand Rapids? You know?
Well,
all kinds of people, all kinds of walks of life and demographics. We want everybody to get in on it.
And I picked up on, I was reading the About page of the GRUSA website, and it talks about being fashion the common thread for all of us. It isn't about just one culture, one age group or demographic. It's the common thread. So can you speak a little bit more about that philosophy, about how to unite people through your brand?
One thing I know about everybody, whether you're a young African American or you're an older Hispanic or you're a middle-aged white person, it doesn't matter who you are. if you're from this city, what one thing do we all have in common? We all love this city.
Yeah.
You know, and I knew that was a way to unify people. You know, if we put out something that we can all gravitate to and say, hey, you know, I stand by that.
Yeah.
GRUSA is a pride thing. It's all about pride.
Yeah.
It's all about saying, hey, this is our town. We are that's why you put flags on the hats and things. We're planting our flag.
Yeah.
And where I really love to see it go is when people outside of Michigan, we have an online store, of course, when they buy it, and I go and I look at the sales, and there's people, you know, in Hawaii and Texas and Florida and all these places. I'm like, okay, that's somebody from Grand Rapids who no longer lives in Grand Rapids,
Right.
and they want to represent the city.
Yeah, they're still proud of it.
They're still proud of it.
Proud of when they came, and
They're still proud of it. And it's so much so, in all humility, I have to say this, but we sort of charged the city and made the city embrace city pride.
Yeah.
It wasn't here before us. I remember getting off
especially
the airplane.
when you know, racially we're very segregated. Unfortunately, like a lot of urban, we're not unlike. We have the same challenges of any urban city.
Sure.
I'm not picking on Grand Rapids, but there's a lot more that needs to happen to make sure that we have more cross-pollination of all communities, all economic sides. And what I'm hearing, too, what I really, really relate to or wish would happen is that the way that your apparel brand is uniting people just in pride is that the extension of that is that we all have a mutual interest in each other's success.
That's it.
And if I can invest and wear something that instead of buying something at Target and I buy GRUSA, it helps that. It establishes
local economy.
Local economy.
Yeah.
But also, it when you see, you told me there was a pretty well-known business guy in town who's wearing your hat, and he asked, what did he ask? If it's okay if he wears it?
Can I wear this? Is it okay? Like, he asked us for permission because the culture differences. Like,
Yeah.
And we wanted to make it abundantly clear.
But we make
that
assumptions, so I think you know, he wasn't being. He was actually being. He was honoring it, but in a way that he wanted to be respectful.
He's been respectful.
Yeah.
But I think the greatest thing about it was it gave us a chance to dialogue.
Yeah.
And to talk about it. You know, like,
Yeah.
absolutely you can wear it. Please wear it. You know, it's GRUSA it's not a black thing, it's not a white thing, it's not an old thing, it's not a young thing, it's not a rich or poor thing. It's a Grand Rapids thing.
Yeah.
So if you're from Grand Rapids or not and you have love for the city, you're more than welcome. You know, please support it.
Well, I'm buying some.
I appreciate it. We're working on the actual flagship store for next year. So
Nice.
we're going to get a location, brick and mortar spot, and people can come by and we'll make
Well,
it
that helps. That also just brings more brand identity to it.
Absolutely.
Just it becomes.
It's good for our town, so we're not really online shopping people quite. Like,
Yeah.
I discovered that. Like, when we have physical hats and physical locations, they go quick.
Yeah.
But online, it's sort of like, okay.
Well, even if you do a limited event or pop-up shop or something, I'm sure
sure.
you create some urgency around getting the product when it's there.
We
in the
always
space.
we always sell out, and I split hairs to see the difference between one way or the next. You know, we drop a line, we drop a new rollout. We always sell out really quickly, but I know when I get them in the stores, it's going to be more accessible to the people, and you'll get people just walking down the block and just see it like, oh, whoa, and just run in there and get it, as opposed to getting their credit card out and you know, doing the whole thing online. But yeah, just connecting the folks, man. As long as we can do that.
Well, that's just one of your businesses and efforts with your partners, but I want to go back to the music for a second.
Sure.
So when you were coming up, you had these influences, you started to write, you started to find a kind of a compass through Nas's influence to really hone your storytelling. And then when did you finally start, not finally, but when did you start to put music down that you could, you know, market and sell? And how take me through that evolution,
So when
because you're just a kid.
Yeah, so when I was coming up, we were making, we would go to studios, local studios around me and my friends, and we would pay like $20 an hour to record in these studios. So everybody paid like $5, you know, so we're kids, man.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like, you know, 15 years old, 14 years old. And we'd record and go back and listen to the music, and we'd do local shows around here, and we'd perform live wherever people were. We're at Gus Macker downtown, everybody, you know, compete and battle rap with each other, you know. The community was alive with hip hop for us coming up. Like, and we were trying to make sure we stayed in the forefront of that. But when I went to college, I met some guys down there, my friend Don Cannon, my friend DJ Drama, my friend DJ Sense, and they were DJs. They were older than me, but they had more of a presence in the music community there as DJs.
Yeah, they've
And I
been
was just-
around for a while.
Yeah, been around for a while, a few years. And I'm a young guy, just excited from Grand Rapids, wide-eyed. I want to be a rapper, you know. But of course, I had to focus on my studies and, you know, responsibilities and take care of things. But there, I got into these circles and met people to where I could start making music on a professional level. And we did
Did you have
that.
anybody help produce you locally at the early start?
Like different producers that make beats and stuff like that. We'll connect
Well,
with
like
them.
who
and
shepherded you through the recording sessions? Or was it you just had an
me and my
engineer
friends.
there?
It's me and my friends.
Yeah.
I mean, my older brother signed a recording contract in 1999. He worked with the Wu-Tang Clan. And like just watching him do things, I learned a lot. But as far as me, like pursuing my dream to be an artist, I did it on my own.
Yeah.
As far as what I want to do and how I want to do it. You know, I picked up on things from watching my brother, and I picked up on things from watching other professional recording artists. But it was me and my friends that I went to school with. We would go to the studio and just, you know, figure this thing out.
Yeah.
And I would spend countless hours at home writing music. That's what I did. Like I had a drawer in my bedroom full of loose leaf papers with raps on fronts and backs. I took all my socks out and put it in a different drawer. And
No more church socks.
Right. The whole thing was full of loose leaf like papers with rhymes on them. So I've put countless hours into you know, years
Back
into
to
developing this.
Really sorry to interrupt there, but when you were writing, did you have a creative routine when you were just like getting ideas down, finding scraps of papers?
As a kid,
versus maybe how you might do it now.
Now everything is on a smartphone. So I put everything either on a voice note or in the notes on my phone. But back then it was all about having notebooks.
Yeah.
And if I have a notebook, I write on chewing gum wrappers. I'll write on a brown paper bag. I'll write on, you know, anything that was around. I'll take it and write a receipt. I'll write on the back of it. But no particular process. I would just wait on inspiration. And I'm still like that now. Like now it's crazy. Like now I need to be inspired. I can't just go in and just start making music. Something needs to happen. I need to see something. I need to hear something. I need to feel something. I need something to move me. And I can always just create.
Usually, I'm just curious if are those generally good or positive or negative experiences that seem to catapult you the most?
Both. It just has to have an impact.
Yeah.
You know, I need to feel.
It's intense enough that you need to channel it.
Need to channel it. Good, bad, lukewarm, whatever it may be. I need to feel something. It need to drive me to do it. And a lot of the times, it could even just be the beat. You know, like some of my producer friends, they'll send me some music, and I'll play the beat. Like, ooh, when I hear the beat, the song just comes together. It's divine. It's from God. It's divine. I don't even think anymore. I let it just come to me. Like it's kind of like
That's
Zen.
amazing. That
It's
can
Zen
just
right now.
flow through.
Yeah.
That's when you know when you sort of feel weightless and time doesn't. You lose sort of the concept of hours passing, and you look up at the clock and 6 hours have gone by. And you're still, that's a cool place when you can channel that.
Some of my best favorite lauded work, things that I did, like 30 minutes, wrote those songs in 30 minutes. You know, and these are complex, mechanical songs that we putting together here.
Well, there was I just heard a couple of stories like that. One was one of the most important comedy bits that Ellen DeGeneres ever wrote came to her in like a 15-minute writing session. And then she went on Johnny Carson with the Tonight Show, and then her career changed because of that. And then there's other examples of, you know, where they wrote a song and it came in 5 minutes.
Yep.
And there's just something divine. There is something divine about that.
It is. It's definitely divine. There's natural inspiration. That's all it is. If you really feel it, then it's going to be real. It's no, like you said, it's weightless. It's effortless. You put it together pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, in listening to your music, what I like about it a lot is these, and I was telling you during our photo shoot that, you know, I like these hooks. You know, like I can't. There's a lot of music I can't get into. Just it's a little bit harder. Just for me, it's not. It's not a. I'm not qualifying it good or bad. Just what I like is there's an access point. There's these hooks. It's very, you just want to move, and then you lay these stories on top of it. And it's amazing, but it does have all this, some callbacks, some retro, and just the way you feel when you listen to your music. It's special, man.
I appreciate that.
And a lot of times you listen to local music and stuff, and you go, well, maybe next year they'll be around. Maybe they won't. And it's the same, It's not to, you sort of expect a drop in like a local sort of thing. Well, it's not this or that. And I'm no aficionado of music and rap and hip hop, but it feels in that importance. It feels important, and it sounds important, and it sounds on a level that's international. With Kendrick and some other stuff.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
It's in there.
I spent a lot of time getting it that way, refining it.
Well, you look at my photography 15 years ago; it's not that great.
Exactly.
You just keep grinding and trying to get better every day.
I've pinned myself, against myself all the time.
That's it, right?
Yeah, against myself. Like this has to be better than the last. It has to. And I know me. I'm a serious music critic, serious food critic. Like I'm a critic, to a fault. Yeah. So if I like it, it's good. Like, I have to prove it first. Right? If I like it, it's good. Trust me.
Because you're gonna have to perform it.
Exactly.
And you're gonna have to live with it the rest of your life.
Exactly.
So
trust me, it's good if I like it.
It's a high bar to get out into the world.
Absolutely.
What's really shaped you in terms of, and we don't have to go anything you don't want to go into, but I'm really curious what in this podcast we talk sometimes seriously about some things that have were catalysts. Sometimes they're negative things or just things that became an incident or any other thing in your life that gave you a new focus that you still pull on as a resource or remembering something that came out of it. Was there anything in there that was like
trauma or anything like that?
Could be drama, could be an experience. I have no idea.
I just think in the forefront of it all, I was just blessed to be inspired at all times. Like I have to do well. Like I have to.
Yeah.
Like it's no option, man. Like I have to do my best. I have to succeed. Like I don't even allow any other thoughts to come into my mind.
Yeah.
And I've been like that since I was a kid. You can ask anybody who's known me.
Yeah.
I've always spoke a lot about what it is I need to do, what it is we need to do, what it is that needs to be done. Like, and I've been speaking that way since as long as I can remember. I really thank God, man, that a lot of things I've done are the exact same things I said I would do when I was a kid,
Right.
And me being...
You're not just talking.
No, not at all. And me being committed to myself, committed to my vision, committed to my family and the people who care about me and the people who I care about, being committed to doing well, It's nothing I can say but just a blessing to have that in my heart. Like, to have that in my mind. That's all I can say about that. I don't, you can't teach someone that, you can't force someone to embrace that.
Yeah.
That it has to be official, it has to be real. Like, and I've always said these certain things I want to do. And I made sure that I could do all I could do to make sure I make it happen. So I can't relate to a particular traumatic event or a particular great thing that may have happened, but the feeling I get when I achieve a goal, the feeling I get when I provide an opportunity for someone else to achieve a goal, the feeling I get when I open up the gap a little bit wider, and we start to diversify and do different things. I just sit back like, we really made that happen. Yeah. It's a rush.
Well, Super Dre was a guest a few episodes ago, and she's your business partner, one of your business partners in the Motu Viget sparkling line, which is going to end up being a whole liquor category, liquor brand. But she was speaking specifically to you and Jonathan. It's like, it's scary how fast you guys will move. It goes from ideation to execution really quickly.
Me and Jonathan stumble on great ideas. I'm talking about, we could be on the phone talking about anything, and he'll go, oh, what you just say? Say that again. And I'll say, like, you know what? That's the idea, right? Let's just do that. They get on the computer and trademark the name and LLC it, and then we start booking flights, and then we, you know what I mean? Then it's like, and then we're doing it that fast. But yeah.
Well, and you're not afraid to fail. So talk about failures. Have you had any like things that you just had to regroup from, whether it be a music style or a product or some category of your entrepreneurship that you had to regroup from? And I'm not talking specifically, but
GRUSA, it wasn't an overnight success, although it, in relatively speaking, it was, but we had to get that, we had to figure that out and get that together and get infrastructure together. I mean, there's no blueprint for what we're doing.
Right.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
And we take a lot of pride in that. I don't know anybody that has a sustainable merchandising brand in the city like we have.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that has a liquor company that we know. Like, I mean, there's the big wigs, but other than that, no one else is doing it.
Right.
So these things they're not blueprinted. We're going as we we make it happen as we go along. But as far as any particular like setback,
But if you're moving fast, I just want to throw this back at you too, because I think if you're moving fast, you can't really make a decision. You're making a lot of little decisions to move everything forward quickly, but you can't really make one decision that's so horrible that that will kill the company or the whole idea. You're moving in a lot of directions. Most of them are going to be positive. That anything that isn't effective,
they're fast, but they're calculated.
Right.
Very, very calculated. A mentor of mine told me when he said, the key to success is speed and accuracy.
Yeah.
It's not just speed. It's not just accuracy. You got to be both. You have to be quick and precise. It has to
Was
be
that
effective.
a boxer?
Nah.
It sounds like a boxer.
But you got to have that mind. You got
sure.
to have an athletic mind when you're moving in entrepreneurship. You have to. But end of the day, we have a lot of quick ideas. We have a lot of things, but we execute them.
Yeah.
They're coming to fruition. We're doing it. But no particular setback per se. But I just always, like I said, just the
You
just the
spoke
hunger
to it.
for
I'm
more.
not. That's great. I mean, sometimes it's not. It doesn't matter. You're wired to go.
Exactly.
And wired to keep moving the bar up higher and higher for yourself.
Exactly. We're
And
inspired, man.
If you're doing that, only more things can happen.
Exactly.
Well, you talked about the end goal because I was asking you during the photo shoot that you've done a couple really smart things. One is you own all the masters to your music.
Own all my masters.
You own all your publishing.
Own all my publishing.
And so that's a huge up. That's there's not splits you have to worry about. It means that you can be super motivated to be even more successful because there aren't people taking a third and a third and a third or whatever it is.
Yep.
But you also are reinvesting all the time in other startups. Amazing, the fashion brand, the liquor brand. You're into some other IT stuff, right? Or other some tech stuff.
We have 2 tech initiatives we're launching. I don't want to announce one just yet because we're putting it together.
My point was though that you're rolling like you're successful as a musician and a rapper and a performer, but you're using that money to a larger goal. You could be temporarily satisfied and take the paycheck and go live a wonderful, affluent lifestyle if you choose to. But you talk about your larger vision because I was impressed by that.
Yeah, it's never just about the one thing. It's never about being so comfortable that you think just this one thing would be enough to sustain. There's opportunities inside of opportunities all the time, and that's the way I operate most of the time. Like the Ambiance GR cocktail lounge and kitchen, we got that coming up into this year. I mean, that's a huge project,
Yeah.
But I mean, not only does it take money to make money, but you have to be able to pinpoint and strategize what's going to work. Where should you put things? But my end all be all is to make sure I can set up enough residual situations, enough empowering, business moves. I could provide a lot of jobs out of a nightclub. I could provide a lot of jobs with a liquor company. I could do a lot. As a musician, there's a lot of jobs. And, if I could do things for other people and empower my family and empower my people, and ownership is what we talk about all the time. Yeah. I own these things. Like, nobody can take it from me, except for me. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, as long as I make the right decisions and I'm fair with my partners and we making, the right moves, it's something we can give to our great-great-grandkids. It's a generational thing. Like people say, hustle for your last name, not your first name. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
legacy, right?
Legacy, and that's what it's about. So all the moves I'm making, I want to be able to have something that my kids can inherit. Like Tupac said, he said, as a young black person, it's a lot of pressure because most of us, in most situations, we have to create legacies. We have to build empires and build these dynasties and build these, these concepts and these businesses for our kids to inherit. A lot of people from our community didn't have the advantages to inherit anything. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it falls on our generation.
First generation's got to do it.
Exactly. Like
I mean, you're not immigrants, but you're sort of like immigrants in the entrepreneurial tech space. Like you're on that first wave of like the economy and the democratization of connection through technology and the internet and business platforms and social platforms. For sure. You are on that first wave.
Exactly. Our generation we're tasked to create these things.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't inherit a lot. You know what I mean?
Right.
We had to make it. You know, and so I'm definitely just obsessed with that concept.
Yeah.
So any dollar I make is split up between 3 or 4 investments, and then you save some, and then it's just
you gotta have fun too.
You gotta have some fun, and I do that. I have too much fun sometimes, but we do that.
Good,
so,
because
so between fun and investing and saving, and you know,
you're living a full life, business wise, recreationally wise. It's good. It's good to take a big bite out of the apple.
That's it, and especially when your businesses align with the lifestyles.
Yeah.
You know, like me and Jonathan buy champagne all the time. Like, you know, we're on Instagram and every page almost popping a bottle of champagne.
Right.
Let's go get our own freaking champagne. You know what I mean? Like, let's not, let's stop making someone else money, and start making ourselves some money, with champagne.
Are there business people in the tech space that are like leaders, maybe you don't know them personally, but that are helping to shape some of your thinking? Because technology is changing all the time. Are there people you sort of like are good, you tune into their signal?
Mm-hmm. I just seen Nas and E40 both invest in that Ring, the doorbell thing that Amazon bought it. For it was like 40 million. It was ridiculous. Like, and they're artists, so I'm really patterning myself after when I see someone coming from the same experiences I have professionally and personally.
Yeah.
These guys are from similar communities. These guys have similar opportunities. These guys have a similar backstory. I mean, to see artists doing that, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, even what Dan Gilbert is doing out in Detroit, they're bringing Google out there. I mean, it's getting crazy, know. So I'm just definitely inspired.
That momentum is there, like it's that chicken or egg thing,
Exactly.
It's like they'll come.
Exactly.
If they see other people leading the way.
Exactly. And especially being minorities, too. You don't see a lot of African Americans. You don't see a lot of women. You don't see a lot of, people operating in that space.
Yeah.
So we're encouraging folks to, to latch on, as soon as possible. Like, let's find our way.
We'll do it now. Well, the ultimate would be like that. Did you watch that Dre, Jimmy Iovine documentary about beats? And
for sure. Even that.
That last drone shot where he's on the yacht, and it just keeps going up, and that's Dre's life now. And he's got
out of
$200 million. He's
out of here. He's out of here. But even stuff like that. See, that's coming from a musical space and then tapping in somewhere relative to where to where your primary businesses are. So yeah definitely.
Well, that's cool. So I got to ask you about this. There's a couple things, because you rep GR so hard, even that you made a whole themed album in 2018 called Studio 28. And it is a really, really smart, enjoyable album because you brought that whole experience that people had with Studio 28, which at the time was one of the largest multiplexes in the world.
It was
right?
The largest.
Was it?
Yeah, it was the largest, man. Yeah.
And millions of people used to go watch movies every year in this space, and it was so iconic. And the album cover is the logo on the building, and it just brought back waves of memories of going there.
It's nostalgic.
Yeah, but the way that you open the album too with like a movie voice, like welcome to Studio 28. It's really good. But what was that inspiration that you would central that one idea, the catalyst around this theater?
Yeah, my man Troy Caesar, he's the producer. He made the beats on that album. And him and I, we're close friends. We make music, we hang out, we do different things. And we said, hey, we're gonna make an album, we're gonna make a project. So we just started recording some songs and just loosely putting it together. And I was telling him I want the project to be Grand Rapids based. But I wanted to find something really cool to pull it all together. Like I was gonna call it Grand Rapids, but that's too broad,
Yeah.
I said let's find something that's
a little narrow.
Yeah, a little more narrow. Something that's gonna warm the hearts of the people too. Everybody has a fond memory of Studio 28.
Yeah, I don't think anyone. Yeah, I mean everybody went there. They they think of all the movies they were inspired by there. They
Yeah.
think about, dates they went on there.
Exactly. It was a thing, man. I remember
kids bringing your kids there later.
I remember going there, getting dropped off, and then going to the
see
movies.
2-3 movies
Two,
at a
two,
time.
3 movies, and they getting picked up later. I remember meeting my first girlfriend there.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like that. I mean, everybody has a story
Yeah.
of some sort. I remember people getting into fights. It's just crazy thing
There would
outside.
be some fights there for sure, and just random stuff would happen. Depend on the
Random
movie
stuff.
playing and what, like how crowded it was. But there seemed to
Me and my friend Jonas, we went there one night to watch Belly. I don't know if you've seen Hype Williams. It's DMX and Nas. And, oh my gosh, we went to go see Belly, and they were talking about not having it to come to Grand Rapids because it was a hip hop movie, and they didn't want any intense situations to happen there. So we went in there. We wasn't even old enough. We snuck in there. Have somebody get our tickets, snuck in, and sure enough, man, somebody started fighting in the movie. They turned the light on. It was like, another
out.
fond memory of Studio 28, man.
put it
Sure.
put it in the memory bank. for sure.
Exactly. But ultimately, though, it's just, again, it's like GRUSA. It's just another thing that we as Grand Rapidians, we can all relate to. We all love Studio 28.
Yeah. Well, even the liquor brand Motu Viget is it's from the city Latin, the
Strength and movement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
strength and movement. And how do you view movement in that phrase? Is there, because I sort of envision it when I was thinking of your company. Why would you name that? It's movement forward. It's like if you're moving, a lot of opportunities happen. The world moves.
Yep.
Things get going.
Like, moving and shaking, making
Yeah.
things happen, being active. That's one. But the other one that I think of firstly is just a movement as far
Yeah.
as an entity.
Sure. Yeah. All that. Yeah.
Like this is a thing now.
It is a movement.
Like, yeah, it's a movement. Like we're gonna create so many opportunities. We're gonna push the culture so much further, so much faster, so much stronger. Like, so this is a movement. Like Motu Viget is just one piece of the pie. Like,
Right.
there's going to be multiple businesses we're going to develop among the ones we have already that will basically push all of us forward. And again, when you're moving like that, hence the term movement. It's a movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's brilliant, and it's all. I like how it's just so effortlessly intertwined with the DNA of the city, the DNA of the partners that came up through Grand Rapids. That you're appropriating that logo to your own purposes and inspiration, and then sharing it.
Oh, yeah.
Like anyone can participate in that feeling of the movement and the momentum and the entrepreneurship of it.
And it's all lifestyle driven because even Ambiance GR, I mean, it's full bar, kitchen space. I mean,
Well, tell us a little quickly about that, because that was an iconic bar space for years.
Right.
And then I want to talk to you about you're one of the, how many years has it been since there's been a minority-owned club or restaurant downtown Grand Rapids? It's been
almost 2 decades almost.
Yeah, it's a long time. Too long.
Yeah, too long.
But that space used to be called what?
Rags to Riches.
Rags to Riches again. And it's this cool space. It's in the heart of the city. It's near Rosa Parks Circle and the Amway Grand and
Right
all
on
the
Pearl Street.
yeah, on Pearl
For
Street.
sure.
And you go underground, and that was
Mind you,
where
Cheers a little bit, right?
yeah, a little bit. And there was always dancing going on in there, and just like people getting way too inebriated over the years. But everybody's associated with that. It's kind of like Studio 28. Everyone has a story that used to happen at Rags, and you guys are changing it. I mean, the physical space is changing over, but there is a legacy of entertainment and fun and
Entertainment.
yeah,
Right.
what kind of entertainment, I'm not sure, but certainly it's a well-known piece of real estate downtown, and I just can't wait. I saw a bunch of demo stuff, you had demolition, and so what's the timeline project goal for getting it
This year,
off?
before the year is out,
Yeah.
where the doors will be open.
Because it looks like a full gut, and
It's a full gut. I'm talking about plumbing, electrical, build out, bathrooms, floors. It's a full gut.
yeah.
Right?
And then you
Completely.
probably had to do a
gonna
bunch
be
of like
beautiful.
code upgrades and things for
Absolutely.
accessibility and all that stuff.
And then the other whole side of the building's been developed already.
Yeah.
They kind of like left that space out of the transition for the rest of the building. So, yeah. But it's gonna be beautiful, and we got some blueprints, and I seen some ideas as far as the development. We collaborated,
So who's all involved with that?
It's me, Jonathan Jokes, Jamil Robertson, Jamal Chilton. AJ's in there. Lacey.
Lacey Jones?
Yeah, Lacey Jones. Yeah. That's the
the
nucleus.
core group. Yeah.
That's the core group. But we have a lot of partners that we're working with to make it happen, though.
Well, that'll be great because then I just think it's so. That's been a problem downtown for a long time. Is that, and I think city leaders recognize this, but didn't quite address it properly. But there wasn't a place where they were actively trying to attract minority-owned businesses.
Right.
And there wasn't, a lot of that happened outside of this business region, hotel region, when it didn't make any sense not to have that. But for whatever reason, I'm so glad you kicked that door down again.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I think it's going to open up other opportunities for people.
And what I want to make abundantly clear is this isn't like the minority bar downtown. This isn't the black bar downtown.
I never got that vibe from it ever.
This is a mainstream hub for the entire city to come and have a really great time.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to represent that in all our marketing. We represent that in the events that we have there. We want country nights as well as hip hop nights. We want blues nights as well as jazz nights. We want every walk of life, everybody who's interested in having a really good, safe time to come downtown and spend some time with us.
What's the food vision yet, or is that still in development?
I'm still developing
Yeah.
it. Still developing it. A couple ideas that I heard, a couple ideas that I presented, but we're finalizing it now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be great. So you finished high school at Otto Hills. You end up going to where in Atlanta for college? Clark, Atlanta. Yeah. What kind of school is that? I've never heard of it.
It's HBCU, historically black college.
Yeah.
Morehouse and Spelman, those schools. That's the Atlanta University Center. So it's Spelman, Morehouse, Clark. At the time, it was Morris Brown.
Yeah.
And I went to Clark, Atlanta.
What was that experience? It was good there coming from, you had a multicultural school growing up in Ottawa Hills and other places that you were living in Kentwood.
Yeah.
What was it like transitioning to an HBC?
A blast.
Yeah. What sort of rocket fuel did that add to your life when you look back at it now, that experience of being with, at a black college?
Yeah, it was cool. It was good to, I never went to a school that like that, because like you said, growing up in Grand Rapids, the schools I went to here was diverse, But to be around, people from my culture just in that way was really exciting. But I think the best thing about it was that it was far away from home, and I was so young, and it gave me an opportunity to just come into myself, and really develop. And the comfortability of being at a black school. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was a good time to transition. That was a good situation to be in, to develop, to grow up,
Yeah.
That's the biggest part. When I went down to Atlanta, I didn't know anybody. I was by myself.
Yeah.
Nobody was, I didn't have any family down there. I didn't have any friends. It was just me all by myself. So all I had was this backpack of experiences I've been to up to that point. And I'm still a kid, so it was,
How long did it take you to feel comfortable when you first moved in? You're at the dorm.
It was quick. It was quick.
I can't imagine, because you have that same laser focus, whether it's, I'm sure, with relationships and friends and fun and the way.
Yeah, it was
that
quick,
wouldn't
man.
take you long.
I remember we went down. I told my mother I wanted to go to that school when I was like in the 8th grade. And she
What
said,
was it about that school versus a Spelman or anything?
Because it was Atlanta. Atlanta was doing a lot of things with music and everything, but there was a movie, School Days, that Spike Lee directed.
Yeah.
And there was a TV show, A Different World, that Bill Cosby was a part of.
Yeah.
And those schools kind of gave me this vibe. So it was like, I'm going to go to Howard, or I'm going to go to Clark, I'm going to go to one of those kind of schools. I want to get in that vibe,
Right.
So I just like Clark because it was in Atlanta.
Find your own Jasmine.
Yeah, find my own Jasmine, go and do my thing. That was my idea. Then the plan was to leave school and then go be a lawyer or be some marketing, heavy somewhere. Like, what's the movie, Boomerang, with Eddie Murphy?
Yeah.
Like, he was in New York doing it, but I was thinking, hey, I can do that in Atlanta. It's a great place for African Americans. I had all these ideas that I would do aside from music. And it just happened to come together. Everything was clicking, It was a really good place to be. And I remember getting there, and I told my mother I want to go, so we went and visited the school. and it was just electric when I got to Atlanta. My first time going to Atlanta, it was
You just
an electric
knew that
city.
that was where you had to be.
It felt right.
Yeah.
It felt so right. And then when I actually went to school, my family dropped me off, and they peeled off up the street, and I just remember standing there like, I'm really by myself. Way
They're out
down
the door?
here.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's do it. I just
Yeah.
rolled my sleeves up, and
Well, I remember it's not the same, but I relate to the experience of dropping my daughter off, moving her into her freshman dorm and getting her all situated, get the bunk beds built and get the tiny fridge in and then just leaving. And I remember thinking, I wonder what she's feeling right now. I was excited for her, but also nervous. Probably all the things she was feeling too, but you were feeling. It's like, well, I guess I am. It does hit you pretty hard that mom and dad aren't around.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
And it's just
So what did you end up majoring in?
communications.
Nice.
Communications. And then I went on to get an MBA in marketing after that. And, took
You have
those.
an MBA in marketing.
Yes,
Awesome.
sir.
From the same school? Nice.
Yeah.
That's incredible. It's going to perfect use.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because
I did undergrad, then we did music, and then we launched these businesses. And I was telling Jonathan the whole time, I said, hey, I'm going to legitimize it to myself by going back to school and getting my master's and figuring this out.
So how did you and Jonathan Jelks become, where did you meet, and how did you know that you guys could, when did you know that you could probably merge these business interests and be inspired by one another and lock it down? Because it seems like you two are the linchpin to everything.
He's when I was first started doing music, I first got my record deal, and I was coming back home. I was trying to make sure I kept a connection with the local talent here, particularly my friends, and empower them and give them opportunities through my opportunity. And he was a young guy I'd never seen before in my life. First time I met him, first time I remember meeting him, let's just say, he saw me in the studio trying to get some beats and produce these records, and he said, hey, how can I help? And he's probably to this day the only person that's ever asked me, how can I help? You know, that was a magic phrase. It kind of like, it pierced the room when he said that.
Huh.
I said, who are you again? Like, who's this guy? What? How can you help? Please, yeah. So I told him what I needed, and he shot out, came right back. He brought all this music back, and I was looking for beats. And he came back with all these beats. And I said, who is this guy? Who sent you, man?
Right.
Up to that point, no one has ever asked me, how can I help you?
Right.
And I've toured the world and put out music and did all kinds of things as an artist, aside from all these businesses. But even through the path, no one has ever asked me how can they contribute to where I'm going.
Right.
And when he said that, from that moment on, he was always just connected with me like, hey, I see what you're doing. Let's add this to it. Hey, I want to offer this to what you're doing. Let's do that. You should maximize like this. He became a strategist for me.
Yeah, and it was making sense to
It
you.
was making complete sense.
Yeah.
And we had so
he knew
much
he was
going
smart,
on.
and he knew he had his
He had his hooks into this city, too, in a unique way.
Yeah.
So I don't have to be here physically all the time.
No, that dude is networked like crazy.
Crazy. So
and,
he told me, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm like, some things I didn't think of before, some things I did think of before, some things I'm bringing to him. He's like, let's add a little bit of this to that. Like, he's the only person I can really bounce ideas off.
How long since you first met John? How long have you known him now?
I've known Jonathan probably about 15 years now.
Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. So, yeah, just taking these ideas and growing them into more ideas and newer ideas.
Well, I think it's rare when people can be in that type of business relationship where you're the creative face, you're out in front, but you still have somebody who's not threatened by that success, is actually part of that success.
Exactly.
Integral, but doesn't mind being kind of back behind the curtain pulling all the strings. Or in contributing, in your mind, a lot to the success of everything that you're doing.
So much so that he eventually, came down to Atlanta regularly, and he saw the full operation we had down there, you know. And he learned a lot through myself and my partners down there about the music business. And he took all those ideas and ethos, and he brought them up here, and he implemented them in other ways, politics, business, for the city.
Yeah.
So he became like like a product of all of the things that he was exposed to, from my experiences and his own experiences. But one thing about him, he always took those experiences and poured them back into what we needed to do.
Right.
And that's what you're seeing right now.
Yeah, well, it's caught wildfire for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I want to close this other loop, too, because Jonathan's father is Professor Jelks, well-known academic professor. And you're involved with, you're executive producing, is that right? Or you're producing the this documentary for PBS, what's the name of the docuseries again?
American Masters series.
American Masters, which is like the premier documentary series that PBS puts out. And tell us about the subject. It's Langston Hughes, but tell everybody why Langston Hughes is the subject of this. Just tee up who he is in American history.
Sure. It's called I Too Sing America, Langston Hughes Unfurled. Langston Hughes was one of the leaders of the Harlem Renaissance. So for black arts, he was a writer and a novelist and a storyteller and a poet, of course. He lended a voice to the African American experience during that time, and he became one of the first people from that experience to actually make money from his art. So it became more than expression. It became, this place of relevancy in not only our culture, but in American culture. And his story, so I was just telling Dr. Justice the other day, I'm surprised the story hasn't been told before. People within the culture may know about it, but outside of the culture, there's been no super mainstream looks to tell his story and tell his experience. But he essentially he drove the energy of the Harlem Renaissance. He drove the energy of poetic expression for black people and for American people as a whole. I mean, he globally, this is globally, so his work is still is relevant today. His work is shaped and molded the way we still do art to this day. Yeah. And his story is well deserved to be told. We have to tell his story.
Well, I can't wait to see that documentary, especially knowing that you're producing it. Dr. Jelks, is he writing some of it or writing?
He's chief executive.
He's the chief.
He's the man.
Top dog.
He's the man's top dog. But he brought on Kevin Wilmot.
Yeah.
Academy Award-winning
documentary director.
Right. He's going to direct it, so it's going to be a real big deal for us.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I want to be conscious of your time. We've covered so much ground. I wonder, I want to make sure I got my notes up.
Sure.
And we covered everything pretty much. We ripped right through it. Tell me a little bit more about your touring and stuff. I know you were over in Europe doing some dates over there.
Just in Holland. I knocked out a few dates over there.
Yeah.
Rotterdam, Amsterdam, The Hague. Just spot dates.
What did you find about the crowds there? What kind of, were they festivals, outdoor stuff? Yeah.
Outdoor stuff.
And then
indoor and outdoor, but festival stuff.
And then, so is that part of a tour that you were initiating, or that they put, the festivals are going and you're just invited and put on as an act that for that festival?
Most people reach out, promoters. They reach out and they'll say, hey,
Well, it's hard to get a festival going in Holland by yourself, you know what I mean? So,
right.
So it's nice to just come over and get paid to do it.
Exactly. And let them foot the bill.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, people reach out, promoters, they reach out most times and say, hey, we want to get Willie the Kid to come out and perform at this event or this club or this place or this, whatever, let's make it happen. And then, we get a contract written up and I'm there.
So you're living between Grand Rapids and Atlanta, but you're in Atlanta. What percentage of the year do you think you're down there?
Recently, man, it's been getting real 50-50-ish.
Well, that's good. You got
a lot of business up here.
Got a lot of irons in the fire up here.
Exactly.
For sure.
It's real 50-50-ish right now.
Well, it's an easy, quick flight. You fly in on Delta on the nonstop.
Delta on a nonstop, 92 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. And Delta's a hub, and the hub is in Atlanta, so there's plenty of flights flying out of Atlanta.
Well, you can go on. What I like about that you can't do in Grand Rapids is you're a nonstop flight anywhere in the world almost you want to go from Atlanta.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
It's the busiest airport in the world, they say.
Yeah.
So I get on the flight, 92 minutes, I'm in Grand Rapids. Let's do it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for doing it. I think we shot some good portraits. This has been good. I'm so grateful that we connected just quickly, just on Friday, and it's as we're taping now, we're doing this on a Sunday night.
See how fast the ideas coming to fruition?
Well, and I thought I better jump on this right now because who knows when I might crack a small little window of your time out again.
Yeah.
But
it's fine. It's good to be here.
But I'm impressed, very, very impressed. I need you to know that I'm very impressed with the entrepreneurial organization that you have, how you've diversified through different partnerships and different projects. It seems to me that I'm just excited for you guys because
Thank you.
And however we can amplify this through this interview and out to help people understand and awareness of the fashion brand, the sparkling champagne, and the GR Ambiance coming up. That's exciting because these are all game changers.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's all fun businesses.
It's super fun, and it's things that again, it's for the community.
Yeah,
it's not something that we just take and we're kicking butt out here. No, it's something that it's enriching our community. It's making the city, light up.
Well, you told me during the shoot, you didn't say it again, but you were like, I want to help a lot of people and I want to retire early.
That's it.
That's it.
That's exactly what I want to do.
And if you're helping lots of people, they actually end up turning around and helping you achieve the other goal, which is success enough that you don't, you can retire.
Yep.
I don't think you'll ever retire,
I don't think so either.
It's too fun, right?
It's way too fun, man. Why would I stop, right? Yeah. Why would I stop?
All right, thanks, Will. Appreciate it. Hey, that was a great conversation with Willie the Kid. I really, truly enjoyed it. I feel like he's a friend now. I feel like he's somebody that I'll reach out to because if I have a question about business, entrepreneurship, how he does things, the guy's an open book. I just love how honest he is. I admire his hustle. I love that quick, easy laugh that he has. I love that guy's laugh. I could just try to drop jokes on him occasionally just so I could hear that laugh once in a while. It's a soothing, fun, contagious laugh. And the last thing, I just want to underscore how important it is that Willie the Kid is one of the producers, executive producers, or I'm not sure his exact role, in this American Masters documentary that's going to be coming out on PBS about the artist Langston Hughes. And that needs to be underscored. This guy is helping to put out a historical documentary on one of the best platforms documentaries have ever seen in television, which is the American Masters series on PBS. So hats off to you, Willie. And I hope all of you have a great week. Check out fullexposurepodcast.com for more information, more background on Willie, and check out some of our other past episodes if this is your first one, or you just need to get caught up, because you know what? You need to get caught up, people. It's life's a race. You're behind, and I know you feel guilty about not catching up on every single Full Exposure episode, right? Okay, not really. But anyway, let's put that pressure on us, and let's get caught up, and let me know how you're doing. Hey, man, go out there. Have a great week. Go get it, everybody. This Full Exposure podcast episode has been made possible through the support of Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, and Dr. Peter Hahn, who believe that creativity and the arts are essential to a rich, healthy, and fulfilling life.